All right, the CBT technique is being able to distinguish between events, thoughts, and feelings. Now, this one's really important. If you think about any situation, you can really break it down into the facts of the matter, the actual sensations in a person's body or the emotional sensations that they're having, and their beliefs about what's going on, their thoughts. And you'll notice, as you're working with your clients, whether people who suffer from anxiety, from depression, a lot of times they'll kind of describe their emotional experiences as almost like demanding that they should be, in the sense of, I just, I was just so depressed. I got the grade that I got on my exam, and I just fell into a deep depression. Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, emotions do sense the meaning in situations, but this technique is really trying to bring into question that the situation was properly sized up. You know, Depression's a strong emotion, and sure, no one wants to get a bad grade, but this technique is really trying to break apart, well, what were the facts on the ground? When you were preparing for this test, were you preparing for this test? Filling in some data there. Uh, the feeling also matters as well in terms of clarifying, well, what exactly is this feeling that you're having? Depressed might itself saying that you're depressed might actually trigger being depressed. So getting more clarity on the feeling that's going on is super important. And getting an idea of the thoughts and beliefs a person's having about what just happened, again, super important. You know, is the thought here, because I got an F, I'm a complete failure? Is the thought here, I'll never be able to graduate university? Well, it's worth teasing those points out. It might be, well, is this class actually necessary for you to continue on with your degree? If it is it possible to retake the course or even challenge the test? By peeling apart these specific aspects of an event, gets the person in a more stable frame of mind to be able to then move on to the next step and say, okay, well, wait a second, it is what going on demanding depression, or maybe it's more appropriate to have some other feeling about what's going on. And again, you only really are able to do this if you size up the situation, the thoughts, and identifying the right feelings that are going along with the situation. As far as the mechanics of this technique, you're really mining for information. The problem is going to present itself in a very blunt, matter-of-fact sort of way. And so you as the clinician, you're going to want to tear apart, and I don't mean like in a destructive way, but really peel apart what the story is, to explore all of its facets and aspects. Another way of thinking about it is that you're trying to be a good author. The client's coming in with a fairly basic story. I'm a failure. And by describing, well, what was the situation that you were in that made you feel like a failure? Okay, more detail. You're at your grandmother's house. Okay, well, what was the situation there? Okay, it was a birthday party. All right, more detail. You're building a story, and then linking it to the thoughts and feelings. Well, what you're really looking at is, well, this situation that was a stimulus for depression, where you're almost trying to like triangulate, well, does the feeling fit with the situation? Does the thought fit with the situation? You know, Again, depression, well, that's a pretty vague term. What does it feel like to feel depressed? Where is it in your body? Uh, is there muscle tension? Is it hard to breathe? Okay, well, maybe that's not depression. Maybe that's more fear. Oh, okay, well, maybe it makes sense to feel fear in that situation. Well, how much fear are you feeling? You're wanting to be hypersensitive to filling in all these details, because what you're really doing is setting up a story that has parts to it. And as soon as you have parts to it, each part can actually have its own solution. It's really an abstraction of the idea of, if you have a big problem, you want to break it into smaller parts that are more manageable. That's exactly what we're doing here, except the pieces you're breaking up are the specifics in the situation, the specific thoughts and feelings. And again, there's another layer to this, because then you're not just making sure, oh, okay, well, did you label everything right? And it's not just that either. Well, does it all fit together? Oh, okay, well, we've labeled it right. It fits together. Oh, okay. This is not exactly what we thought the situation was to begin with. And now we have solutions that we can put into place for all three different aspects. Don't put your, how to better act in that situation, different ways of thinking in that situation, better ways of feeling in that situation. But it's also going a long way in terms of developing a habit of behavior to always try and be as precise and detailed in what's going on, not just allowing oneself to be sold the initial story that's told.